Counselors Craft a Curious Path with Ruby and Olivia.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Ruby Miller, a multidisciplinary artist, singer-songwriter, therapist, and wisdom seeker with a background in opera, ceramics, and photography.
And I'm Olivia Candosia. I'm an actor, theater director, voiceover artist, early childhood educator, and drama therapist. We are both neurodiverse therapists who strive to infuse more wonder, authenticity, and joy into modern life. We're here to share our hearts and stories, and in turn, listen to yours. Here we gather with you to craft the curious path of life, therapy, and art. Welcome and co-create with us.
Welcome
to Counselors
Craft a Curious Path
with Caitlin and
and
Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Caitlin.
I'm thinking about starting with an intro where we say we're neurodiversity affirming
But
therapists.
we already have it in the introduction.
Oh, we
We're
do!
recording.
Oh my gosh! I'm trying to copy the stream, but the stream doesn't have an intro.
Mm-mm.
The stream that you do with Brandon Tesser is
Every
Mondays
Monday.
at
One.
1 CST, Chicago time.
It's true.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. And I...
This is not an advertisement.
No, but you know what? I'm ignoring everything you're saying and thinking about what I'm saying.
I can tell it's great.
Um,
I prefer it, honestly.
I had a really hard time, and we've talked about this before, feeling comfortable talking because Brandon can talk about anything. But through talking with you, I talk a lot more now on the stream.
I know.
And it's really exciting to kind of just leap, even if I don't know what I'm saying, and I love it. Yeah, I love it.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel more fun to be on it?
It does feel more fun, and with our commenters, there's like a relationship there, and now I know what some of our commenters like interests are, and so I'll bring those up sometimes, knowing that like, oh, they probably know what I'm talking about here. They know this reference, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, the relationship's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour myself some extra coffee. I'm so tired.
Extra coffee and a coffee. Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, the Starbucks lavender oat milk latte.
And then what
It
do you pour in
has
it?
2 Trader Joe's cold brew coffee because I got like 5.5 hours of sleep.
Oh my gosh. What?
But you know what I did? You know what I did?
What did you do?
Blasphemy. Halfway through, no, it was 4 p.m. yesterday. I had 2 shots of espresso with hot cocoa.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah, and I just forgot about, the impact on trying to go to sleep.
That happens to me too, where I'll drink like a green tea, forgetting that has caffeine, and then...
I knew it had caffeine. I forgot the
Oh,
impact it actually
yes.
has on my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
But I was trading it. I felt like I did a decent trade because what I got out of it was being able to help my mother pack up my doggy to go to her home in Wisconsin.
It's Caitlin's moving week this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm moving from Northbrook, Illinois, which has been very good to me and is idyllic in some ways.
Whatever
I don't
that
know.
means.
Yeah, whatever that means. And I don't know what I mean, so don't ask me.
Not gonna.
Yeah, exactly. and then I'm moving to Wisconsin, and so my mother was kind enough to pick up my sweet little doggy Faye child, Athena, and she's going to take care of her this week in Wisconsin while I make my apartment even more of a mess with packing.
Yeah, I visited Caitlin's apartment for the first time this weekend, or on Friday, and it is everything you would expect, and then maximalized. It was wild.
Yeah.
But
I was so glad you could see it. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a reflection of my soul. And
It
I was like, I
was.
want Olivia to see it before it gets taken down.
yeah, thrown into boxes. Yeah, it was... I love visiting people's homes because you do get to see their soul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about places where I don't see soul.
Well, and so, yeah, I would say I do feel like certain people's homes, I'm like, oh, I know you, and this is not you.
Yes.
So, yeah, so people who decorate in a way where it's like, oh, this is like an experience.
Yes. And I love interior design, so it was so fun to see, like, she's got those little seats with the color. I can't even think about them now, but like really cute ottomans that are like velvety and just very feminine energy, and all your pottery. I didn't know so much pottery could exist in one space. The jewelry, I thought I had a lot of jewelry, and then Caitlin just opened up another drawer, and another drawer, and another drawer, and another drawer. It was amazing, but I got to take some home.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I feel like a mark of someone being my friend is having either a piece of my clothing, a piece of my pottery, or some of my jewelry, and now you have all three. So welcome.
Thank you. And I'm wearing 2 of them right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really sweet. I was talking to a different friend over the weekend, and I showed her the Instagram story you made of being grateful. No, wait. Of being grateful for the jewelry, and she was like, "Oh, this is so wonderful." She was just like...
Just wonderful that...
She thought your jewelry collection looked amazing, and she was like, it's so sweet that she really appreciates getting it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm thinking about how lovely this weekend was for me.
Tell me more. How was your weekend?
Yeah, we had Easter at my aunt and uncle's yesterday. And it's always so special because they're Greek and they do like the lamb on the spigot. And first off, my cousin posted a photo in the morning of the lamb, and usually I don't see it until it's like crisp and burnt. I don't see it when it's bare pink and scary big white eyes. So like that was like...
It has eyes.
Yeah, I've eaten the eye before too. So like seeing that in the morning, I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? But no, it was just like everyone's invited to come, and it's just this big community, and like honoring my grandma who just passed away this past week, and like I don't know, it was so fun to like reconnect with people and like sit with people I haven't before and dig more. My cousin Sophie, who was like my best friend growing up, she brought her boyfriend, and I think this one's my favorite of all the ones that she's had because he was so curious and loving. And
was he crafting a curious?
He was. It was so sweet. Like it was just.
That is honestly a landmark in families, is to meet a partner for the first time with like a family member where you're like, I really like you.
Yes, and even saying like, oh, you're my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, because we've seen the journey, you know, and it's like, oh, this one's gonna stick. Like I can feel it, and I just was excited for her. Yeah, but she was like going like, oh, I love him so much. Gross. And and it was interesting, and he pointed that out. He's like, yeah, you say you love so much, but you keep like making like puke noises and things. She's like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like I don't have to be embarrassed about this. And it was just like really cute to see them like talk that out, and I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Love.
And there's something so beautiful about having an Easter celebration like that with your family after your grandmother passing away.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a built-in like celebration of life or something.
And we're planning one too for I think the start of June, because May is crazy. And I think my cousin and I are going to write a song, and I'm really excited. Like I was sending her voice messages last night of like, oh, we can talk about this, and remember when we had to sing Christmas carols? Don't you love this Christmas carol? Like just really exciting to do that.
Maybe it'll turn into a set.
Knowing our family,
I feel like it's gonna be a set. It could be maybe like songs that remind you of grandma, and then one song that's like written for grandma.
Yeah, it's interesting too because it's so many thoughts right now. I was blow drying my hair the other day, and I never think of my grandma when I blow dry my hair. But now, since she's passed, I'm like, oh, remember when you would blow dry your hair after getting out of her bathtub and then she'd curl your hair? Like, it's just like these memories popping up of like things I forgot about that now you hear a sound and you're like, oh no, that's connected. Oh no, that's connected. We're all connected.
I remember my, when my grandmother on my father's side passed away, I had this like memory of a Christmas that she did come back into my mind, and I was like, that was so special.
The Christmas with her?
Yeah. She took it really seriously and made it really magical, and I was like, oh, what a precious memory.
Grandmas. I just found out my grandma, we would always sneak in her pantry, and there were like lollipops on the top shelf, and we would always sneak and get them.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle told me today she did that on purpose because she thought it was cute that we snuck up to sneak them. So she planted them there for us to grab them.
Oh, that's fun.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, it's so like, I feel like I would do that for kids. Like, give them a thing where they feel like it's their thing, and it's like exciting. Oh.
I know, what a great idea.
Yeah. Wow. I thought it was kind of epic and like tragic and also symbolic that Pope Francis died. Like, I was like, maybe that's why I couldn't sleep. I'm pretty sure I went to sleep like an hour after he died Italian time.
What, Caitlin?
But anyway, like he made it through Easter. I mean, that's
There's something about that.
There's something about that.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. And I know very little about him, but I was like, wow, this is a very interesting day for a religious icon to die.
It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought of Pope Francis because I could not sleep for so long, and then also thinking of your grandma passing away and, death and...
Yeah.
So the death of an icon with your life, too.
Yeah. I'm not religious at all, but a lot of my family is, and we usually do a prayer before dinner. And my mom couldn't be there, which is so sad, because she was sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aww.
And so I, like, FaceTimed her while they were doing the prayer, so she could see, like, the blessing and the, like, gratitude towards my grandma being there, and, like, it was so weird, and I don't know what, weird's not the right word, but, like, to see her face watching it, and see her get choked up, but, like, alone in her house watching, I was like, but also, how cool that we get to connect like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Like, my sister lives in Colorado, but I feel like I see her all the time, even though it's been like a really long time since I've seen her in person.
Because of FaceTime?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I feel bad for your mom. I wish she was healthy so she could have gone to Easter. Or healthy enough.
Yeah, I think she got food poisoning.
Really?
Yeah, because my aunt and her ate the same sandwich from somewhere, and my aunt also got sick, but my mom's was a little more severe. Yeah, I don't know if, like, grief had something to do with it, too. Like, physically, you know, who knows?
I feel like a lot of people are getting food poisoning lately.
Yes, I think that, too. I'm changing think to feel.
This is, think, yep. That was part of my thought about global warming and, like, overpopulation and consumerism and changes in the food supply, that it's like, there's probably going to be more pandemics and food poisoning and things like that, because there's only so long a society can sustain unsustainable practices.
Yeah. I feel like I have nothing and everything to say about that. And I also don't feel, like, confident in my knowledge to even build off of that.
That's an interesting response.
It's an interesting response.
Yeah, did you say I have everything and nothing to say about that? That, to me, it's interesting. Okay, let's talk about this.
Let's do it, please.
I feel like this is a very neurodivergent moment for both of us. So, I have everything and nothing to say about that. I translate that into, you want to change the subject. Or that you feel so uncomfortable. Yeah, so that's my first interpretation. Now that I'm saying it out loud, my second interpretation is that you feel uncomfortable responding to what I'm saying in a way that you think would sound smart.
Yes, I think I am ill-equipped. This happens a lot where I want to sound like I know things, or know more about them than I do. And I remember Brandon, our supervisor, was like, Olivia, you, like, talk about D&D like you know a lot more about it, but you really don't. And I was like, how dare you? But, like,
You do talk about D&D. I just assumed you've played, like...
I have played it before, and, like...
No, like hundreds of hours.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think Maybe, like, me looking like I know about it is one thing, but really what I'm doing when I'm talking about this stuff is to invite people who have that interest to come in.
Oh, yeah.
And my aunt was saying, she's like, Olivia, you have this superpower where, like, you are in charge, but people don't realize you're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I do, is, like, I mention a topic that I know enough about to, like, get by, and then I let the other people share their things.
I feel like you might be conflating multiple things right now.
Okay.
I think one of them is thinking that you have to know a certain amount of things before you can even talk about it, and then if you do talk about it, sound like you know enough that it's worth listening, and then commanding a room energetically, and then I think the third thing is giving people almost like I'm picturing you as a fisherman, like putting out a line, putting out another line, putting out another line, and like seeing what bites. And I think it's worth treating those things as separate because your feelings of needing to sound, or your thoughts of thinking you need to sound smart before you say something is really problematic, I feel like.
Yes.
But then the energetic command of a room, I think, is great. And the, like, putting out lines to, like, welcome people into a conversation, I feel like that could be very useful in certain settings.
Yes.
Maybe not all.
Yes.
But certain ones.
Yes. I agree. I think oh my gosh, my brain. Wanting to sound like I know things is something I am getting better at, but certainly there are still topics that are, like, challenging for me to feel like I have or can say something, not have something, because I always have something to say, but
then maybe that's the new question is, do I have something to say? And you just say it.
yeah,
Because if you always have something to say, then
and
that
we
would be
always
better
do.
to spark yourself to say something.
But the thing that I had to say was, I don't feel confident enough to say anything.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I'm not trying to tell you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say the next step is just saying whatever the F you want about the food system in the United States.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, I don't know if this is useful for you to know. I have read no articles, done no research for, like, I would say, when's the last time I read an article about food? In maybe 10 years. And let alone, like, an article. I mean, it's essentially, this is my knowledge, we use too many pesticides, our farming practices are not sustainable, we waste a ton of food, the water basins are, like, getting fucked, people are, like, we're in droughts, blah, 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 so then, and then hearing verbally, I didn't, like, read it anywhere, but hearing verbally recently of, like, the bird flu stuff, and then hearing anecdotally from clients of getting sick with food poisoning, and then, like, seeing in the grocery store, like, a bunch of different random things missing for, like, years now, even post-pandemic. So that's literally, so I'm just saying this out loud because I think none of that, if, like, 100 people were listening to that, none of that I would be considered even close to an expert or maybe even knowledgeable in it. So I'm just demonstrating that my threshold to say something is, like, I don't even know.
Yeah. No.
Does that help or does that make it worse? I feel like that maybe just made it worse.
No, it didn't make it worse. I had a million things pop in my head when you were saying it.
Please interrupt me, friend.
But I was also really captivated and I liked what you were saying.
Okay, well, say something now.
Yeah. And therein lies... Okay.
It matters,
but I'm frustrated now because I'm thinking, not at you, but at this idea of, like, it's important to interrupt, it's important to say what's on your mind, but, like, something is always on my mind, and even when I am captivated by what you are saying, and so I'm still trying to navigate of, like, the appropriate time to interrupt, which I know doesn't exist, but I don't know.
I'm almost wondering if you could, like, train your attentional processes to be even more captivated, so you're thinking less, and then when a thought that comes up that reaches the threshold of, oh, I'm gonna say this, then you just say it. Because I'm wondering if there's a certain maybe like type of attention that would be more flow state like.
Maybe, yeah, because when you're talking, I'm like, oh, that's a topic I could bring up, not important enough. Oh, that's a topic, oh, not interesting enough, still lit. And I do, like, file cabinet throw stuff as I'm listening. And it would be nice to not file cabinet.
I've noticed differences with sessions with clients over the past 2 years of being more and more present with them, and so then my thoughts of, oh, I'm going to interrupt, they happen less often, but they also feel more authentic and
Sure.
powerful and, like, meaningful when it does happen. So I'm wondering if that's part of the journey you're on right now. And I feel like a lot of people who, like, art, acting, that kind of background, like, we can get away with not listening and still being, like, present emotionally and,
Yeah.
like, intellectually with people, like, and kind of still be like, oh, there's a brrrr,
You
like,
know
running
what's
in my head.
Interesting. So as Caitlin knows, I don't know if you all know this, but I don't know if I mentioned it before, but how we have discovered that I often cry when I'm feeling embarrassed. And I am noticing myself feeling embarrassed right now, but like the tears are like a little bit there, but not as present as they usually are. And it's really interesting to kind of feel the physical sensation, but not have it like outpour in me as often as it usually does, and kind of clocking like maybe I'm like getting rid of some shame behind that embarrassment or something. Still tearing up a little, but like it feels more grounded.
Yeah. I feel like this is the soonest, or I think this is the soonest I've heard you label it as embarrassment while still being on the verge of tears. So I feel like that's something about connecting to your emotions more, maybe.
How do you mean? Say more.
So over the past, how long have we known each other? 9 months? Enough to have a baby?
Enough to have a baby. I love saying that.
I don't want to have children. I do.
You-
I want
you
them so
absolutely
badly.
want to have children.
Yeah, I just want it as a sarcasm, but yeah. But I think, sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the I feel too, when it's not a feeling. I think that since I've met you, the amount of time it takes you to say, oh, I feel embarrassed versus, in the order of events versus crying, has like flip-flopped. Like
Sure.
before it was cry, 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 cry. No, Brandon, I'm not embarrassed. Then it was cry, cry, cry. Maybe I'm embarrassed. Then it was, and so now it feels like the opposite,
Yeah.
and it seems like useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to say it's like better or whatever, but it seems like you're enjoying it more, where you're like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I still am crying. Crying isn't bad. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But like that's so I feel like that's a big change.
Yeah, it's the identifying of what it is. Because before I just felt so chaotic. Like my whole life it was just breaking down into tears all the time, and now like embarrassment was not the only thing, but I am realizing, oh, that was the pattern. I just was not able to identify that until now, and it is weird. I feel the sensations. I have the thought. I'm noticing it a lot more, even when talking to Brandon. And I'll be like, I'm embarrassed right now, Brandon, but I won't cry. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a fun journey.
Yeah, and so before I saw you starting to tear up, whatever I said, I felt in my body like, oh, that kind of sounded like a criticism, and I don't know if Olivia will perceive it as like me trying to teach you something or so. So yeah, so it was interesting because I felt a shift in the feeling tone, and I don't know if that was picking up on your reaction or if it was like a whatever, but I was like, oh, I did not intend for whatever I said to Olivia to seem like a criticism or like or even maybe a little, I was worried it was a little demeaning, like, good job, kid, or whatever, but that's not how I felt. But yeah, so it was interesting because when I saw you tearing up, whatever I had said like the minute before up until I saw you tear up, I was like, oh, there's something about that feels kind of judgy in a way that's not supportive. So I don't know.
But I will say, one of the things I was going to interrupt you with is, I remember as a kid, we went on a field trip to, like what is it called? Like a sewage,
Water treatment facility?
Yep. Yeah, one of those, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was so stinky and smelly. Especially as, like, middle schoolers where we're all just like, ew, gross.
Oh, it's so gross.
And all of us were, like, bringing out our lip smackers to, like, smell something as we're walking
that's
around.
so
It's so cute. And they were like, you can drink the water here if you want to. It's fresh. And we're like, absolutely not. Like, just being kids. One memory. Memory number 2. George Williams College. We did an overnight in middle school where we learned about orienteering and, like, recycling paper and all of these things. And I remember they were teaching us about how much clean water is in the world and how terrifying that was as a kid to know, like, this much is in this jar. If this jar was all the water in the world, it's this much clean water we have access to. And I was like...
And that was probably, like, 2005 or maybe 2000?
At least 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, but I got a whole life to live. You know, like, I'm not just going to be however old I was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about, like, they gave us that awareness. Did I do anything with that awareness? I don't know.
I think that's kind of our Achilles heel, though,
Yeah.
right? Is, like, did I do anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of, like, did we band together to do
Right.
something?
Yes. Oh my god, another story, Caitlin. I'm jumpy. I'm so jumpy today.
I'm not perceiving you as jumpy. But I also think when you say jumpy, it sounds like there's a negative connotation.
Yes, correct. I'm, like, catching up with myself in my head right now.
Yeah, I think that's part of the not interrupting me. I'm like, it feels like Olivia has I think you have a checklist of things that I want to hear, and the longer you take to interrupt, the more backed up the checklist is.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, and this one I'm adding to the checklist because I just thought of it. I remember one of my first acting jobs after graduating my undergrad was a touring company. Me and one other person went to, like, the East Coast and did an educational production about energy conservation. And so part of it was, like, advertising these free energy conservation kits to the kids after the show of, like, and we've got this shower head, and we've got this, like, power cord that, like, saves electricity. And I remember for that, like, whole 9 weeks that I was on the road doing that, I was so much more mindful of turning off the lights when I left the hotel room, and, like, I don't know. It was when I was living it every day and reminded of, like, the impact we can make, I did feel like I was, I don't know, more mindful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the power of social norms, too. Because there could be a point in society where if everyone is doing things to conserve energy and resources, then it's just monkey see, monkey do, and you don't even have to be conscious of your behavior maps onto, but it's so different.
Yes. Do you compost?
Mm-mm.
I always see people who compost, and I wish that was a monkey see, monkey do thing for me, because I would love to compost. I think it's such a cool idea, but I just...
Surprise, surprise, my boyfriend composts.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. So that'll be a new part of your life.
Yeah. I love him so much. And that's part of the social norm, like, there are certain social norms where you would have to, like, grow up around it, or, like, you know, like, things where it's not just like I'm throwing this bottle into the recycle bin. It's a skill to learn, like, baking cookies or something. Like, there's... So that's the... It's like, what would it be like if we just grew up? And then I was thinking, I think the New York Times sent an article about a new planet that was discovered that could actually be inhabitable, or also potentially inhabited already by, like, life forms that we could communicate with. But anyway, I was thinking, my whole thing that I thought of, not I as in, like, just me, I'm sure I got it from a movie or something as a child, of, like, is our inevitable destiny as humans within my lifetime that we just hop ships and we go to a different planet, or jump ships and we go to a different planet? So I was thinking about that when you were talking about sustainability, like, has our society and global, like, ecosystem gotten so far past a tipping point, not only, like, ecologically and, like, physically, like, in observable reality, but also in the way human beings, like, collaborate and also lack collaboration, and I'm just like, so
Who's to
Yeah.
say? How do we even, what is that? How do you know? Like, there are so many tipping points, too. I don't know. And I just think, would you ever go to space? Because there's not
Yes.
a chance I would. No.
you would
No.
if you had no choice.
Absolutely not.
Oh, Olivia.
Absolutely not. Caitlin.
Okay, let me give you a prompt.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna convince you because I don't want you to die. Okay. It's 20 years from now. It's 20 years from now. I don't think this is actually gonna happen, just to be clear. This is a fantasy thing. It's 20 years from now. This Earth is literally uninhabitable. Like, you know you will die unless you get on a spaceship and you go somewhere else. And you are guaranteed that if you're on that spaceship, you will live for longer than if you lived on Earth, just like a reasonable estimate. So you would choose dying on Earth than getting
One.
on a spaceship.
1, there is no guarantee about surviving on that spaceship. 2, the resources we have to breathe in space are also still going to be limited. 3, space is scary as fuck. That,
So
like,
you would rather die at 50.
yes,
Really?
then go to space. I don't know.
Girl, I'm gonna have to convince you if this happens. I'm gonna call you up and I'm gonna be like, Olivia, make this choice with me.
If I was with somebody that I really loved, and we were both terrified out of our minds, I would go with them. But
Okay, well there we go. So it's relational. I'll help you.
I don't know though, because like I really can't imagine that situation. But like, space to me is almost equal to people's idea of heaven. It is like almost like an
It
afterlife.
actually sounds like hell to you because it sounds awful.
Yes, but also an afterlife sounds awful to me too. So
Yeah,
like,
but like, I think the whole idea is heaven is people are supposed to be more excited about an afterlife. So
well,
space
guess
to
what?
you sounds
My
like hell.
attachment to heaven and yeah, I guess space is hell to me.
Mhm.
It is vast, and I already have so much vastness here on Earth, floating. To be in a more that perspective is just
I think maybe the thing I agree with that you're not saying but saying is that choosing to get on a spaceship to go somewhere else or to like live on the spaceship indefinitely would be an incredible change, like beyond any change that
how
we
do you
had
even
experienced
reestablish a
thus far.
life?
You persist. We're so good at persisting.
Yeah, but
You have relationships.
Caitlin, my dear,
This is not
I
me
will
being
wave.
naive.
I will wave to you. I'm not thinking you're naive.
Oh, okay.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
I am so happy that you want to do that. If it came to that,
I also feel like I keep imagining myself having kids. So if I had kids and I was like, okay, you're gonna live potentially like 20, hopefully more than that, 30 to like 50 years longer than me, and I know the Earth is gonna become uninhabitable soon, like, so we'll see. I hope that
We'll
doesn't
see.
happen. I hope we can make this planet work.
I mean, like, there's just so much meaning we all, or myself included, have attached to living on Earth and what life means. And I don't know what life means.
I think life is more versatile and would have more things in common in space than you're giving it credit for.
I believe that. Doesn't mean I want it.
No, yeah.
believe
No,
that.
I don't want it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people leaving Earth would be like very much, if it's within our lifetime, I think it would be very much like a last-ditch effort to try to save humanity. I don't think it would be joyful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like joy.
Yeah. This is really interesting because I guess I have decided, I guess since I turned 18, I don't know if there's a timeline for it, but my current take on suicidality is that I want to persist as much as possible within reason. So if there's any thought experiment where someone's like, you're gonna die if you do this, and you're gonna persist if you do this, then I'll always choose persisting. And so that's why I'm like really flabbergasted by your response.
That I would rather die.
I don't think you would, though. I think you are talking about it now theoretically, but
I am thinking about how Brandon talks about how everyone's like, oh, like, this is how I would survive the zombie apocalypse. But Brandon's like, no, I would never. I would be dead. Like, how we always imagine that we'd be, like, the warriors that, like, survive the zombie apocalypse.
That is not the same thing as what I'm talking about, though.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. But I'm thinking about... No, it's not the same thing you're talking about.
It's
just...
so different. It's actually kind of the opposite. I mean, zombies aren't real, so... But also it's sort of the opposite. Like, the zombie apocalypse, I feel like, is, like, fighting other beings until... Like, it's very, like, violent, but I'm talking about literally the earth becomes uninhabitable and technology has gotten so far that we're like, we can live. Like, that would be... That's
But
much
at
different.
what cost, Caitlin?
What do
At
you
what
mean?
cost? Like, I can live, but it is going to be... And if this happens, what, in 20 years, I'll be 50? And 50 years on Earth, had an okay time, had a good time. The next, to live like a couple 20 years that are, like, terrifying, and that is so much work for a small chunk of my life. And I don't...
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
It has taken so long to even create meaning here. Like, I can't imagine in a place that has no structure yet.
It would have structure because it could, life could persist on the spaceship.
On the spaceship.
Yeah. This is really fascinating.
Are we just living on a spaceship? We're not even living on a planet?
I think in the way you're talking about this, you're making it seem like there would be absolutely, like, no commonalities with Earth in a way that would cause so much distress that it wouldn't be worth it. But there would have to be enough commonalities with Earth for humans to live on the spaceship, which could maybe feel like, I don't know, living in, like, a nice train. Like, I mean, there can be plants on a train. There can be a pool.
But you can't leave a plane. I cannot just walk out of the spaceship.
But then the thing is, you
Absolutely.
die or you live. Wow, this is really fascinating. I'm curious if because I have to go soon, but following up about this conversation in the future and if either of our views change. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
And please, anyone who's listening, what's your perspective?
Yeah. And then the other part of thought experiments like this is that, as you can see within our lifetime, technology and things have changed in ways that we could have not predicted. And so a thought experiment like this, like, it has limited utility because there could be technologies or things that are different that we literally can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And so the idea that you would only live another 20 years, or that the spaceship would be hell, or that, like, or that you'd be in a... So, and there are assumptions on my end too, but I think it's worth having, like, the approach to life of, I would like to persist with as much as possible.
That's so interesting. When I hear persist, it sounds like the other side is, like, giving up. But I don't think I'm giving up.
The thought experiment is you're gonna die if you stay on Earth.
That's not giving up, though.
Okay.
Like, I lived my life.
Oh, okay. Well, persisting to me is the choice in the moment to continue to live. So then...
It would, to me, I would not be living the life I want to live in this thought experiment.
Yeah, and so persisting in reason to me is, like, putting up with a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
For the, like, purpose of persisting. And you are not alone in, like, people being like, if my life is a lot different, then it's not worth persisting.
On Earth, if my life is different,
Anywhere.
I will navigate. If it is
That's
else,
so interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Caitlin. I can't.
Are we fighting?
No.
Oh, okay.
I love that we have a different POV on this.
Yeah.
I can't go on a walk in space
Okay.
without wearing a suit that's so bulky or feeling nauseous. If they can give me... No. There are solutions that I still are like, no.
This is so interesting. Yeah, I would rather live than be able to go on a walk. If you're literally going to die on the planet, that you could go on a walk. You're not like trading, I'll go on a walk on Earth. You're trading death for not. That's so interesting to me.
That's so funny.
Wow. Yeah. I guess also I imagine my shift into motherhood being like, okay, I need to take staying alive and being healthy as seriously as possible. And so if I were to have children, my view has to be persistence at potentially extreme costs for the sake of being a mother.
I suppose, but I'm thinking, like, with my kids, do I want to force them into that? Like, I don't know.
Man.
It's,
Ooh.
yeah,
This is a great... I want to keep talking about this. I feel like this could be like a... I feel like we could talk about this for like 3 episodes.
It'll come back, because we still haven't even talked about E.T., extraterrestrial life, and things.
Oh yeah, I have lots of thoughts about that. It doesn't mean I'm an expert.
Bet you too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Caitlin.
So yeah, we are counselors craft a curious path. We're hopefully going to start launching these soon. We're recording the intro.
Yep. Today is April 21st.
21st, yeah. And then we work at a neurodiversity affirming private practice in Illinois called Effective Artistry, and Olivia is able to see clients in Illinois. I'm also now licensed in Wisconsin and Illinois, and I don't know.
Yeah. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Join our conversation. We'd love to chat.
Mm-hmm. And we're excited to start posting, because then we can get more questions and stuff. I love it when people bring in topics from audience, so yeah, but this is wonderful.
Yeah.
And this might be our last in-person one for a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Maybe
I'm
when
not
we go
gonna
to
say
space.
forever.
We can do one in space.
No, because you're not going to go with me.
I'll FaceTime you from below with the last days on Earth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but we're not fighting, right? This
No,
fighting.
not
Okay.
at all.
Okay, this is interesting. This is good practice with me to, like, disagree with someone for a good, like, I don't know how long it's been, 20, 25 minutes, and be like, no, we still love each other. This is great. I'm like,
yeah, I have no contention. Like,
yeah, no, it's, yeah. This is healthy for me, because I think for me growing up when there was fighting, it was, like, really bad. And, like, fighting was also disagreement, but it's worth...
Sure.
Yeah.
Noted
Okay.
that. Anyways.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, y'all.